So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the official opening of the York College 2014-2015 academic year. Let me extend a special welcome to all of our new faculty colleagues, as well as new administrators and support staff. At a later time in the program, the faculty and staff will be introduced by their respective vice presidents or provosts, but I just want to add my words of welcome to all of you. I look forward to your contributions to the academic enterprise as you join in helping to teach, nurture, and mentor our students to their very highest potential. I also want to welcome back, of course, all of the members of the college community to this convocation. It marks the symbolic opening of the academic year. To all of our faculty and staff who are returning from the summer, I trust you had some rest, you are refreshed, and I know you have already started to face some of the challenges of the year, because many of you, like me, saw those long lines that were bottling up our registration, and some of you helped to facilitate students through the problems of CUNY First. But those are not really the challenges we really want you to engage in. We are more interested, clearly, in the challenges that you will face in the classroom as you challenge students to reach their very highest potential. A special welcome back to those who have benefited from leaves. Some people have been on sabbaticals, and I've heard that there's been a lot of scholarship productivity. Some people have been on family leaves, and there too, people have been taking family leaves either to care for the sick or to welcome a new child into their families, or for that matter, those who have been on a more extended time away from the college. I have heard about some of the joys of the time you've spent away, and I know that you come back to us in very, very good spirits, and we're glad for that. I want to especially welcome back someone who has been gone from the college for many, many years. He has been gone to serve in the role as Executive Director of the National Institute for Collective Bargaining, which was first housed at Baruch College and later on at Hunter. After many years' absence, he has returned to his first love, teaching, and we are delighted to have you back, Dr. Richard Boris, in our midst. Where are you? I know you're here somewhere. To those of you who have achieved promotions or tenure or CCE or other kinds of permanence in your positions here at York, a heartfelt congratulations. Again, I know the provost is going to be mentioning those, and so I will not take the time to do that, just to give a heartfelt congratulations for all of that good work and the just rewards that have come. To our new chair people, to all of our chair people who are sitting here. In fact, why don't we all give a nice round of applause? Chair, could you stand, please? They represent both academic and administrative leadership, and they really come to this almost by selection and election. It is a labor of love, for sure, that they do, and we really appreciate the work they do in behalf of our students. So thank you, chairs. Thank you so much. You may be seated. I do want to give a special shout out to the new chairs, however. Professor Tunumo in the mathematics, to Professor Taylor Hazlip in a newly formed department, nursing. Dr. McNeil, who I think of as new, but she's really not so new. She reminded me a few minutes ago, but we thank you anyway for being here. Dr. White in history, and Dr. Dana Fusco in teacher reg. We thank you for joining the leadership of the college. We thank you in anticipation of the work you will do both at the department and the college-wide level. I want to also add my words of congratulations to two other people. Mr. Amin, who is on stage, he is re-elected as for a second year. Yes, student, as our SBA leader. And I'm not sure if Dr. Rooney is in the house. Yes, she is. Oh, there she is. Has been re-elected as the faculty caucus chair. Look forward to continuing to work with you. A few a few people who have left the college and gone on for retirement, a well-deserved retirement after doing excellent work here. We know they're not in the room, but we want to offer heartfelt thanks. And those of you who are in touch with them will, of course, pass on the fact that they are remembered at this time. There were a few of them last year. This time, we had as our convocation professor, Professor Chuck Coleman, and he's now retired, Dr. Rosenthal, Ms. Liu, Mr. McPherson, Professor Marshalow in the library, Mr. Dixon, familiarly in the Performing Arts Department, Professor Berkowitz in business, and Marcia Green, who served in the business office and at the EOC for many years. I would like now to turn to our first-year students and to give just the briefest of addresses to you. I want to welcome you to York College, and I want to say to you, class of 2018, I want you to remember that number, and that is because we anticipate that if all goes well for you, having made this good decision to come to York, that you will apply yourself fully and that you will aim to graduate from us in the year of 2018, 4 years from now. Now we know that some of you may take a little bit longer, and that is okay. But keep your eye on the prize as the class of 2018. Take your courses intentionally, study intentionally, and you will be able to make it. We believe that as you begin your time here at York, I'd like to ask you, in the words of E.M. Forster's Howard End, to connect, only connect. Connect with your faculty members. Connect with your teachers in the classroom. Connect with each other. Right now, your peers, because they are influential in your lives. Connect with your student government. Connect with undergraduate research. Possibly even connect, and I know that I have been interviewed already by students who are not necessarily in the journalism program, but they're using the journalism program as a platform, and the student newspaper, Pandora's Box, as a platform to increase their powers of inquiry and to develop themselves as confident leaders. So I ask that you do that. I ask also that as you consider your days and semesters and years here, that you begin to know people inside of the classroom and outside of the classroom. Now, it is true, we don't have a lot of scholarships, but sometimes we can connect you to places where scholarships exist. And so I ask you to connect with the scholarship office. I also say to you, it's not too early, even if you know what your career path is, it's not too early to begin to make a connection in the Career Services office. They will help you potentially not only to get your resume together, not only to help you with interview skills, they may even help you, if you're an undecided, to do some testing that may help you understand what your talents, abilities, and passion may be so that you can pursue that as a career. Later on in your career here, in your second or third or maybe even fourth year, they may be able to provide connections to internships. I think of some students who have been able to work at JFK Airport, or in a small accounting firm, or in a not-for-profit managing data. And right away, students, first-year students, I urge you to get to know the benefits of the tutoring offices and of the Academic Achievement Center. And don't think about it as a remedial problem. Think about it as staying ahead of the game, because those who seek tutoring early, and especially if you work with a peer tutor, you may find that those skills, even those skills that are already good, are improved, get better, and those skills that are a little bit on the weak side will certainly be strengthened. So don't wait until there's a problem. Be proactive about it. So, first-year students, class of 2018. I also have something called Open Fridays, where you, as a first-year student, can make an appointment for half an hour or so to tell me the joys, and I hope not so many sorrows, of being at York. It's a chance for me to get to know you since I'm not in the classroom, and it's a chance for you to make contact with me and benefit from any wisdom that I might have that may benefit your own career here, or it may benefit you in your life outside of York. So, as a community, first-year students, class of 2018, we are here to support your academic success. You have only to ask. So thank you for choosing York. Thank you for being with us. We do have more of a program. That's the part that is specifically addressed to you. And that's why I wanted to have you together so I could see who you are. And I'm going to ask you now if you would just stand for a minute. Yep. And in fact, I'm going to change the program a little bit and ask the VP for Students to come up and do the pledge now before I go into my longer speech, which I'm hoping you're going to stay for. I know you're going to stay, because I'm not going to ask them to lock the doors now. But do stay. But do, I think, now is a good time to do the first year pledge. So.
Good afternoon, class of 2018. If you will open your program, you will see the first year student pledge, and I will ask that you recite it after me. I pledge to sincerely commit myself to 5 principles. I will give my best effort to my coursework and seek assistance when appropriate. I will uphold the highest ethical standards in everything that I do. I will pursue opportunities for personal development and civic engagement. I will be devoted to I will actively participate in college programs and services. I will be devoted and responsible citizen of York College, of my community, my nation, and the world. Thank you. Now, I would also like to take advantage of this opportunity to introduce some new professional staff that have joined the division. You may be seated. And those of you that cheated, I'll catch you a little later. I would like to be able to introduce some new professional staff that have joined the Division of Student Development. First, I would like to introduce Dr. Vincent Banray, who is on the podium, and he is the new Associate Dean of Student Development. In the back of the room, on the left, is, Dr. Jae Young Choi from the Counseling Center, who is new to us. Jae, can you stand, please? Dr. Denise DeCoupier, if you would stand, please. Also from the Counseling Center. And Dr. Lipton, would you please stand? These are our newest members of the Student Development Team, and they are in Counseling Services.
Thank you, Dr. Walker Johnson. So I am now going to turn to the heart of my State of the College address, during which time I will bring you up to speed on where we have been last year in terms of achievements. Then I will also identify some of our challenges. And finally, I will dream a little bit about some of our aspirations. So as most of you know, every year at this time, we try to provide a sense as to where we are as an academic community. And I'm ably assisted in doing this by the fact that back in June, maybe starting even as early as April of the year, many members of the college community, using what is called the performance management process, which leads up to the chancellery, it's a reporting process, is in many parts of the college community engage in reflecting on where we've been, looking at the events of last year, seeing what our achievements have been, what our successes have been, and also attempting to identify our shortcomings so we can improve on them. So much of this information, ladies and gentlemen, is up on the web in chart form. Pretty dense to get through. And I'm not going to try to replicate that chart. But if you have any sleepless nights and you're not busy in the lab or in the Performing Arts Center or reading something in preparation for doing some scholarly work, and you want to take a look at that, I invite you to do so. But I'm going to give you the thumbnail sketch today. The Cliff Notes, no, don't mention Cliff Notes. The abbreviated version, the précis version of that particular report. So let us start first with our achievements. And they are 3 in number. Assuring academic quality and good academic outcomes is number 1. Fiscal management is number 2. And enrollment is number 3. And I'm going to spend most of the time with academic achievement, because that's what we're about. In terms of assuring academic achievement, some good things happened this year. We were reaccredited in terms of our middle states. That's important because without that, we can't do business. A number of our programs, like our dual joint BS-MS program in occupational therapy, met its accreditation standards. Also meeting its accreditation standards, our nursing program and our social work program, and they have been accredited now for the next 8 years, which means that they are in good shape for the next 8 years, and they can begin to grow some additional programs during that time. Let us applaud all of those folks. In terms of degree programs, we have to diversify as an institution and keep our students attracted to us by offering not only strong traditional programs, but by developing some new programs as well. And during last year, baccalaureate in business administration with a major in logistics and supply chain and a major in international business, a fine collaboration between the Department of Business and the Department of Foreign Languages. And that, I think, is really to be applauded, ladies and gentlemen. Our pharmaceutical science folk not only have a strong undergraduate program, but they are now developing, and we've gone through all of the governance pieces locally, a master's in pharmaceutical science. In the terms of faculty, recruitment, and scholarship, we've had a stellar year. First of all, we were able to hire 17 new faculty to join us, bringing our total full-time faculty to 2,004. Many of the hires, many of the new people who joined us were in what we consider the general education areas, because in earlier years, in order to meet accreditation standards, we had dedicated much of our hiring to our health sciences, to business, to social work and the like. And so last year, in keeping with the fact that we had a new pathways curriculum, we hired some gen ed folk. Second, our faculty have been very active in research and writing grants. Not as active sometimes, or as maybe active last year, improving the results last year, although not really going back to earlier years when we were really very, very active. But some very good activity took place. Professors Lynch and Pop in the Department of Earth and Physical Sciences were awarded a 3-year Department of Energy Office of Science grant in partnership with the Fermi Lab. Professor Tim Paglione, also chair of the Department, Earth and Physical Sciences, was awarded a collaborative grant with some other CUNY schools, as well as the American Museum of Natural History by NSF. Distinguished lecturer Margaret Van Dries put the arts front and center last year with a major exhibit, first at York, that was picked up later in the streets of Jamaica and is now in part also at the Schomburg Museum in Harlem. 3 York professors received Fulbrights, and that's what you're seeing a part of on the screen. The screen is showing Dr. Linda Perry, who got picked up by CUNY, and so we have a nice little thing going in the New York Times. It's always good to be out there so that people can see that our faculty are doing great work. Joining her on the Fulbright bandwagon, as it were, are also Dr. Selena T. Rogers and Dr. Vadim Maldovan, both in social work. Dr. Perry is in business and economics, and you've seen the banners, so it's hard to miss, but we're really very proud of the work that these folks. So the faculty is doing great things. We're creating degree programs, we're creating undergraduate programs, we're getting accreditation, we're doing our own scholarship, and we're doing it to the benefit, of course, of our students. Those of you who were here for commencement, we did it 3 times because we liked it so much, right here in this auditorium, remember the power of those moments, and especially the speakers, the student speakers who represented us so well. And that's what it's all about, that commencement exercises when they walk across the stage and receive their degree. Symbolic of those achievements that are indeed supported and led by you, Robert Fernandez, a 2013 graduate of York, one of 30 recipients of the Soros Fellowships. Our valedictorian last year, our top student, is a real tribute to what can happen when a student starts in SEEK, and SEEK supports students who are both economically and academically less well prepared, starts there and ends with a 3.98 GPA in chemistry and is going on to do great things. Like the 248 students who participated in our 5th annual undergraduate research day when Pulitzer Prize-winning author Charles Duhigg addressed the gathering. Or our VITA students, all 168 of them volunteers, who are continuing to do great work in terms of income tax preparation here at York under the guidance of some very, very good faculty. Or like our own students who are not necessarily performing arts majors, but who bring their talent and their expertise to the performances that take place right here on this big stage, and they did that a number of times last year, but most notably with the Midsummer Night's Dream. So those, ladies and gentlemen, are some of our achievements. Now to the fiscal. That's number 2. The first one, academic achievements with the evidence and student success. Number 2, fiscal. For fiscal, I'm going to be brief because I can be brief. When you've got a budget problem, you've got to spend a lot of time explaining how we got there and how we might emerge from that. And those of you who've been around a few years will remember that I stood on this very stage probably 4 or 5 years ago and gave a big global speech about the economy and then how it impacted New York State and then how it impacted us. Well, I don't have to do that this time. Thanks for a relatively good economy. Thanks for good support from the state and the governor. Thanks also for some very good leadership in CUNY, led in the past by our now retired Matt Goldstein. And thanks for some good leadership here at the college under the leadership of Ron Thomas. We have been able to emerge out of what at one time looked like a not so good, in fact it was a bad budget situation. And we're now stable, and we can meet all of our bills, and we can even do what Susie Orman says, put something in reserve. And so, I believe in her, believe me. So now I'm practicing in the business, in the college, but I practice in my own life. So we've been able to put aside a reserve, a little rainy day fund. And it's about $1 million is what I hear, and that's kind of where we want to keep it. We've also been very fortunate last year to get a down payment of $30 million on our state-of-the-art building that we're trying to build, the Academic Village and Conference Center. We need much, much more, but it's a good thing, I think. We take it as a very good symbolic sign that the state has said, we're going to give you $30 million. Now you have to earn the remaining $250 million. You have to work hard. So I may be coming to some of you to go to Albany with us in order to make that plea. Finally, the Startup New York campus plans have been approved. This is a very new project for us. We really, even though I'm putting it in the fiscal plan, we don't see dollars coming to us directly in the immediate future, but it nonetheless gives us an opportunity to sort of work in that mode and to be a good partner to the community. So the state of our fiscal health is good. We're going to try to keep that during the upcoming year. And that, indeed, I just want you to know we've done that. And during this last year, 2013-2014, we were able to hire 60 new or replacement faculty and staff across the college. And we still ended the year the way we wanted to. Number 3 is enrollment. So I've talked about academic achievement, I've talked about fiscal management, and now I'll talk about enrollment. And I'll be brief here too. Well, as you know, the two, fiscal management and enrollment, go somewhat hand in hand. Enrollment, on one hand, we have met our goals for last year, and we're on tap to meet our goals for this year. We have currently, for fall 2014, 996 first-year students, of which we have maybe about 60 in the room. We have about 801 transfer students for a total of 8,484 students headcount, and that is just about maybe 1% or 2% above what we had targeted. So from a sort of enrollment numbers point of view, we're good. Also, it's important for us to remember that some years ago, we inched up our standard, not to keep anybody out, but to say to our students, we need you to come to us ready to meet the rigors of college work. So we want you to have gotten to a certain level in mathematics. We certainly want you to have gotten to a certain competent level in English, writing, and in reading. And from what you tell me and from the numbers I see, our students are coming to us with that level of preparation. We now need to take them up to that next level, and you students need to work with us so we can stretch you. If you think we're being a little bit too challenging, it's because we know what the world out there is all about. And we know that if we challenge you and you reach that challenge, you will be better prepared to compete in the global world. So those are our three major achievements, and let me now turn to some of the challenges. Clearly, no institution of this sort lives without some failures, some challenges, some difficulties. And I'm going to mention 4 in number, maybe 5. Let me start with CUNY first, since most people, especially the students, understand that even more than we do. CUNY First is a system that has been adopted by all of CUNY for managing all of our business operations. And over time, each of the 23 CUNY colleges, 270,000 students, 11,000 faculty, innumerable workers, use that same system for different operations. During registration, financial aid, registrar, advisement, you name it, we use that to manage the process of registration. This year, for the first time, this was our second year, we felt quite ready. We had done some, taken some additional kinds of things to improve what we do, but the system failed. And some of you may have found yourself on those long lines. This was a CUNY-wide systems failure. We take no pleasure in the fact that it was CUNY-wide, you know, but it impacted all of us in the same way. And CUNY is assuring us that they're on it, they're trying to work it through, they're working with the software people, and that it won't happen again. And I really hope, and we're going to work very hard, I'm going to represent you very well when I sit with the folks downtown to assure that that happens. The second thing I want to mention is the matter of retention and graduation rates. And this is really for you faculty. We've been working at this for many years. We know all of the issues that impact students staying and graduating, some of them not related to their academic work. But we as a college want to continue to do better, even though we're inching up. We're just not where we ought to be when I compare us with places like a Lehman College, for instance. Other people who are very much like us, we still lag. And so one of the things, and that's why I want to make the point to our first-year students, try to stick with it, try to intentionally finish it in 4 years. If you can't intentionally finish it in 4 years, at least try for 5. Don't stretch it out. You want to move on with a degree so you can really move on to the rest of your life. Number 3, we've had some issues with not being as quote-unquote student-centered as we would like to be. The CUNY First is just one example. Certainly, if I were a student and I had been sort of caught up in that, if I were doing a survey, I wouldn't give us very high ratings. There is one thing, however, that we've known for many years where we have been weak, and it's been advisement, and we've done something about that. Many of you know what is happening there. It is being centralized. We have an advisement center. We're doing training. We do have liaisons to each school, and we do believe that this effort is going to yield better results. Number 4, fundraising and grants development. On the fundraising side this year, we made some intentional decisions not to hold a fundraiser. It's hurt us a bit, but Dolores is continuing to work with people who are giving us major gifts, and we're still hopeful that we will be able to cultivate those folk and make up this year for last year. Also, on the grants development side, and I know some of you have been involved not only in writing grants, but I did ask a task force, an individual, to do a review of our grants operation. And that review has just now come to me. And I will be taking a very good look at it, along with the provost and the vice president for administration, to see what we can do to improve the services there and to offer a better platform and maybe a broader platform of services, not only on the grants writing side, but also on the grants management side. And finally, an issue that is still unresolved is charter review. We've been working at it for about 4 or so years. Some items came out last year, amendments were made. There were issues that still needed to be worked through. I'm glad to be able to report that back in June, I had a conversation with our caucus leader, faculty caucus leader, who made a commitment to having some conversations in the fall to see how we could go forward. And at least I know we have a date, we finally have a date after a couple of missteps, to go forward to see what we can do to work at a minimum, reframing some of the committees so that those committees can work in a more productive way. So those are some of the challenges, ladies and gentlemen. I've done the achievements, I've done the challenges, now the aspirations. So, as I look to the future, most of you know we have a strategic plan, right? We developed that strategic plan back in about 2008, 2009. It takes us out to 2020. There are some people in the audience who are part of the strategic planning committee. Those of you who aren't, the plan is up on the web. Again, it's not the best reading because it's in a grid form and so on, but there are many of the goals that are being carried out in your own department that are embedded or that emanate, if you will, from the strategic plan. For instance, the whole business of master's programs emanates from the strategic plan. So as I think about us as a college 5 years from now, working with the new chancellor, J.B. Milliken, I think of the concept that's put out by Collins and Porras, namely the BHAGs, the big, hairy, audacious goals. And if you were around maybe in 2007 or 2008, my big, hairy, audacious goal was a nursing generic program. We've done that, right? We've graduated our first class, and we're moving now potentially to the master's program. We've been reaccredited, etc. So as we think about the future, I think about some big, hairy, audacious goals, as these guys talk about them. And number one is always to keep the undergraduate programs diversified. Like the one I referenced earlier in international business. That seemed like such an obvious thing, such a right thing for us to do here at York, yet we hadn't done it before. So we're looking for some other of those nice ideas, especially the ones that cut across disciplines and are synergistic, because that's the way the world operates these days. Number two, we want to expand our master's programs, and we'll have a chance to do that with the pharmaceutical science program, with the PA program. We would like to step into the business of a master's in social work. We'd certainly like to include something in business and accounting so that our accounting students who need to do the CPA exam will be able to study with us. Number three, we want to fund our new building. We still need $250 million, and so we'll be going to Albany as often as we can to talk with the governor and his folk. Number five, some of you were around when Chancellor Goldstein made a commitment to a CUNY School of Pharmacy at York College. Now, Chancellor Goldstein isn't here anymore, but I made sure in my 2 first conversations with Chancellor Milliken to let him know that that commitment, promise, expectation was laid, and we would like to continue to pursue that. Now, that's fraught with a lot of challenges, I assure you. But if you don't think it, you can't do it. So I keep thinking it, and we're going to work towards it. So I want to ask you, as the college community, all of you students, faculty, staff, administrators, wherever you sit, to join me in achieving these aspirations. Certainly, there are challenges aplenty, but we believe that here at York, we have the human capital to make some of these aspirations become a reality. And also to close the gaps on the places where we are weak. I ask you to join me in that journey. I ask for your active engagement. Dreams can indeed be realized. 7 years ago, we at York College committed as part of the University Collaborative to become engaged in doctoral training. 5 students entered the program, 1 in physics, 4 in chemistry. Just last week, or was it the week before, 2 of those students, Dr. Sin Pin Ho and Dr. Mesij Domaradsky. Dr. Sin Pin Ho, who studied with Dr. Emmanuel Chang, who's in the audience, and Dr. Mesij Domaradsky, I hope I'm saying that almost properly, who studied with Dr. Stephen Fairley. I didn't see Dr. Fairley. Are you here, Dr. Fairley? No, but I saw him recently. But those two, he is? Oh, where are you? Oh, there you go. Great, thanks, Dr. Fairley. I know I saw you at the dissertation defense, so I know you're here. So those 2 people, those 2 folk, 2 of our 7, no, 2 of our, did I say 7 or 5? 2 of our 5 doctoral students completed their doctorates. This was a brand new arena for York College, and it's a fabulous. So ladies and gentlemen, claim or big, hairy, audacious goals. Maybe you have some that you haven't shared with me. If you have any, pass it on to me or any member of the strategic plan. Pass it on, member of the strategic planning committee. Pass it on to your chair. Let it bubble up. Because no idea is a big idea. Sometimes, yes, a big idea sort of scares us a little bit. But let's go for it, ladies and gentlemen. Let us continue to dream big in behalf of our students. And with that, I bid you a good year. Let's continue to do good things at York College. Thank you very much. So let me take the opportunity then to introduce Mr. Sheikh Amin, our student government president, who will bring greetings to our first-year students and will acknowledge the members of SGA. Mr. Amin?
Good afternoon, everyone. Before I start, I would like to say thank you to our Madam President, Marcia Key. Thanks to our Provost, Mary Key, our Vice President for Student Development, Geneva Walker Johnson, Dean Vincent Bandy, D.P. Ron Thomas, Interim Dean Chirico, and Assistant Provost Olga Henke, our honorable chairs in the back, our diamond level faculty in the audience, our staff, and my fellow student leaders. Welcome, class of 2018. As President mentioned, I am Sheikh Amin. I'm the current elected president for YCSGA as York College Student Government Association. This is my second term, and I think I got some bonus. I thought I got elected for 8,000 students, as President mentioned, so I got 8,484 students. So I got 484 bonus. So I just have a few advice for the class of 2018. Please don't rest on your accomplishment of the past. Like you say, like I'm also your president, but I'm also the president, vice chairperson for the University Student Senate. We represent almost 480 students CUNY-wide, full-time, part-time, and continuing education students. So we can reach higher and higher. And as President mentioned, always everything is about dream. So don't just take rest on whatever you accomplished in the past. Just go beyond. It's easy to become complacent after achieving success, but be grateful to those who have helped you succeed. Sometimes it does not matter if you get a trophy, award, or a prize. At the end of the day, you know whether you had an award-winning day. Maybe you are tired or hungry, but you can smile because you know you have done your best. Don't waste your energy worrying about or comparing yourself with others. Only you and your higher power know if you have done your best. Show appreciation for the people who make things happen. So believe in your dreams, even if it seems like everyone around you wants to see you fall or fail. And I know you guys never catch the dreams, but I have something for you. Can you see this? It says dream on, until your dreams come true. So please keep this in your mind. And how do you want to make yourself better at York? You always have to think better, you have to learn more, and be a positive contributor to the college community. So spend time with the positive people who help you become a better person, like our professor, our lecturer, our adjunct. Find a way to expand learning beyond the classroom. So you should also involve in student activities, student organization, sports, politics, civic involvement. And my last point I want to make, so we need to know how to learn. Then when you learn something, you also learn some bad behavior, some bad habits. So you have to unlearn those bad behaviors. And then at the end, you have to relearn again. So you can keep doing the best for the success of you and success of all of us. And please, when you are in the campus at your college or outside of your college, just think, no one is special because everyone is special. I always talk about surrounding yourself with the positive people. So I am also a leader who surround myself with the positive people. So it's an honor for being here, and I cannot be here without my colleagues. So I would like to introduce my SGA members. So when I call their name, please stand up and inhale. We have Ali Chalan, Senator of SGA. Mariela de la Cruz. Gabriela Torres. Mohamed Sattar. Cristina Rivera. Ashley Gums. Lakaram Bishnath, Alisher Mukhamedam, Jannatul Tajreen, and Mohammed Mohammed. I'm also honored to be here, my Executive Board of Director of Student Government Association, our Vice President for Jasmine Begum, Vice President for Evening and Weekend, Samad Nawaz, Student Governing Council Chair Fahad Azad, Executive Director Dupa Govind, Recording Secretary Adia Tosao, Corresponding Secretary Tinli Wongmo, our parliamentarian Crystal Devi, and University Student Senate Delegate Selim Nabode, University Student Senate Delegate 2 Ripsime Petrosayan, University Student Senate Alternate Furia Harmain, and University Student Senate Vice Chair myself, Sheikh Amin. So I would like to say thank you. Stay around. If class of 2018 you are brand new here, if you need any help, please reach out to all of these people. That's the only reason I recognize them, so you know who to reach out when you are in trouble or you need some help. Please visit 104. Thank you. I wish you all the best.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is my pleasure to welcome to the York College community the faculty beginning their service this fall 2014. They were recommended for appointment by their departments. When you hear your name, please stand and please hold your applause until all faculty are called. The first assistant professor is Lloyd Amagio Leon Dewey from the Accounting and Finance Department. Please stand if you are in the audience. Assistant Professor Olga Bergwid from Behavioral Sciences. Assistant Professors Leslie Emtash and Louis Bradbury from Biology. Assistant Professor Fenio Anasingh Jamieson from Business and Economics. Assistant Professors Matthew Garley and Andrea Silva from English. Clinical Professor Ray Marks in Health and Physical Education. Assistant Professor Nicholas Githuku in History and Philosophy. Substitute Assistant Professor Tad Lee Simpson in Library. Associate Professor Maki Hachikano in Performing and Fine Arts. And Assistant Professor Carlos Sandoval in Performing and Fine Arts. Substitute Lecturers Crystal George Moses and Shirel Robach in Social Work, and Clinical Professor Trace Siliger in Teacher Education. And also we have appointed 3 college laboratory technicians, Ksenia Rusinova in biology, Mr. Yara Garto in foreign languages, and Mr. Nicholas Frazier in performing and fine arts. Now we can applaud. Thank you for your commitment to your college and accepting the appointments, and thank you to the search committees and the faculty of the college who chose you. It is also my pleasure to welcome back from their leaves Dr. Linda Grasso, the Chair of the Department of English, and Professor Wu from Business and Economics. And now it is my pleasure to congratulate the faculty who earned their promotions last year from assistant to associate professors. Those are Professor Chang Pin Su in Accounting and Finance, Professor Laura Bidon in Biology, Professor Stephen Fernley, John Il Lee, Adam Profit in Chemistry, Professor Heather Robertson in English, and Dan Zhang in Mathematics and Computer Science. We also promoted 3 professors from associate professor to professor. Those are Dr. Timothy Paglione in Earth and Physical Sciences, Dr. Stanley Schleifer in Earth and Physical Sciences, and Dr. Adefemi Sunomu in Mathematics and Computer Science. Also, we would like to congratulate for earning their tenure Professors Laura Beaton in biology, William Hughes and Heather Robertson in English, John Crafeo in health professions, and George White in history and philosophy, and Professor Tamara Avi Itzhak in occupational therapy. In closing, I would like to thank Professors Linda Michelle Barron from Teacher Education and Freya Pritchard from Mathematics and Computer Science for completing their service as department chairs in their respective departments, and congratulate Professor David Adulachuk in Health and Physical Education for his re-election, and professors Adefemi Sunomu in Mathematics and Computer Science, Professor Dana Fusco in Teacher Education, and Professor Valerie Taylor Haslip in the Department of Nursing for their election as department chairs. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Jonathan Quash and Ms. Oria Sanchez for the musical break.
And service. And I'd just like to ask the three people who will receive these awards just to come up. It's Dr. Sandeep Bisla, if you're in the audience, please come up. If Dr. Michael Sharp is in the audience, please come up. And if Ms. Barbara Hall is in the audience, please come up. Okay, so let us start with Dr. Bisla. I just lost my prompt sheet. Dr. Sandeep Bisla is an assistant professor in English. Come to the right of me, then they'll know who I'm talking about. Great. And then you stand to the left. Oh, she's going to steal the show now. I'm sorry, I'm going to stay focused. You know, the children always steal the show. Great. So, our full attention to Dr. Bisla. Assistant professor in English, specializing in 19th century British literature. He's just published a book-length investigation into Wilkie Collins's difficulties with the iterability of the word. And his that's right. There you go. And is currently also writing a visual primer for deconstruction. He's also has a project underway entitled Dipped in Ink, INC, incorporating the author in the 18th century England, in which he looks into the destabilizing effects of uncontrolled repetition on a few English literary and legal contexts. Constantly keeping up in his field, Dr. Bisla is currently writing essays on a whole slew of people who I tell you I read when I was, Pope, Shelley, Bronte, Stoker, Marx, Conrad, and Woolf, a formidable group, indeed. And in his free time, when he's not teaching, doing service, he's also working on a novel. So let's congratulate Dr. Bisla on his scholarship. And we're going to ask him to say a few words about his scholarship. Congratulations. Anything you'd like to say in, how many minutes did we give him? 2 or 3 minutes or less, right? All righty.
Thank you, President Keyes. I'd like to thank President Keyes and those who voted for this award. I'd also like to thank Provost Melatius, Dean Donna Chirico, and my chair, Linda Grasso, for their support for my scholarship. I couldn't have done it without them, and I especially appreciate the provost who keeps asking me about my next book project. Keeps your eye on the prize. I just wanted to say a few words. This book grew out of this book. When I was, it's a pretty old book. It's from 1886. When I was an undergrad at Harvard, I bought it at a sale outside Widener Library for 50 cents. And I thought I'd found a prize. You can barely read it, right? It falls apart if you bend it too much. But it turned out it was a prize. It started me on this project because in this book, Wilkie Collins is the evil genius. He criticizes America for pirating his novels. And when I looked into it, I saw that this book claims that Wilkie Collins is the author of The Lady in White. He actually wrote The Woman in White. So then that got me thinking, how could they get it so wrong? Well, it turned out this book, published by M.J. Ivers and Company of Nassau Street in Manhattan, near Fulton, where Nassau meets Fulton, were inveterate American pirates of English works. But that's all right. There was no international copyright agreement. So in the 19th century, America became smart, basically, by stealing English authors. And that got me thinking, and so then I read, when I did read The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins for a graduate course, I saw there, what I'm saying here is, in 1886, he's overtly criticizing Americans. Well, in 1860, when he wrote The Woman in White, he was actually, I decided, covertly criticizing Americans, because in that book, he had one woman in white replaced by another woman in white, and the profits went to the villains in the story. And so I thought, well, that's what America is doing. An American copy of The Woman in White is replacing an English copy of The Woman in White, and the profits are going to the villains. And then when I read the book, I saw that there was a passage about where the villains are making fun of the heroine's copybook morality. And now copybooks were in the 19th century books where there were mottos at the top, and students wrote them out in nice script over and over. Honor thy father and mother. A man is known by the company he keeps. Things like that. Well, I I decided maybe it was to be read literally, as in copybook morality. If they were making fun of the copybook morals of the good characters, but maybe it was Wilkie was trying to tell Americans that they needed morals in copying books. And that's what led to this whole study. And it took 10 long years. And I'll be honest with you, given the current state of academia, that not all places would have been patient enough, let me say, to wait for a good piece of scholarship, because I could have made this a bad piece of scholarship. This is 140,000 words. You could publish it at 70 or 60. Halfway through, I could have finished it, quote unquote, finished it. But I guarantee I wouldn't have been up here. I do very much appreciate your support of my scholarship and having been patient enough to wait. I wanted to give an example, just one short story from my experience yesterday. Given the state of academia, you can look at it two ways. You can say, Professor Biesla, you need to learn to hurry up, learn to get things done. You know, we're all going to die anyways. You know, there's that way to look at it. Or you can look at it as calm down. It takes as long as it takes. You have to protect the integrity of your thinking. I'd like to say everyone today has to decide this. Everyone of my professor colleagues has to decide this issue for themselves. As my way of showing you my leanings, I would like to point out that yesterday I was hanging out with my father-in-law, who's visiting from Ireland. He used to be captain of the Ireland chess team, so we took him to, my wife and I, we took him to Washington Square Park, where the professionals play 5-minute games against anyone against all comers. My father-in-law played and lost both games, but he came away claiming he'd blundered and saying that he was better than the other fellow. But it was just the time pressure that got him. While he was playing, another guy at another table called me over and said, you know, want a game? I said to him, I don't play this game, which was both a lie and not a lie, because I do play chess. But while I do play chess, I believe pushing thinking too fast makes a travesty of what should be a beautiful game. Thus, I thank you heartily for confirming my belief with the awarding of this honor. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those insights and for acknowledging the support of York in producing good scholarship. So Dr. Michael Sharp's area of specialization, comparative politics, international relations. His research interests includes looking comparatively at globalization, the politics of international migration, immigrant political incorporation, and political transnationalism. He focuses, for the most part, on post-colonial citizen Dutch Caribbean immigrants in the Netherlands and Latin American Nicaraguans, that's Japanese-descended immigrants in Japan. Dr. Sharp teaches classes that include comparative politics, international relations, U.S. politics and government, Caribbean politics, and Asian politics. He's published numerous articles in his brief time at York, and his most recent publication, doesn't have it to hold up, but we're going to put it in a case so he can see, is The Post-Colonial Citizens and Ethnic Migration, the Netherlands and Japan in the Age of Globalization. I'm pleased to introduce to you and to award you our Presidential Award for Scholarship, one of them this year, Dr. Sharp, and to ask you to speak for 3 to 5 minutes, no, whatever time you need, about your topic. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, President Keyes, for Provost Melodies, as well as our chair, Dr. Villegas. Dean Chirico for nominating me for this award. It's an honor to be at your college. So I really enjoy research and scholarship. You've already heard about my research interests, but basically it centers on political inclusion and in liberal democracies. This research journey began for me while living in the Netherlands in the 90s, where I witnessed the wave of migration of Dutch Antillean and Aruban Caribbean Dutch citizens, including some of my own relatives, to the Netherlands. I became fascinated with the advantages and disadvantages of being an insider group as opposed to other immigrants. I later moved to Japan in the late 90s, where I happened to be working for an international human rights organization during a wave of migration of Nikkei-jin, those are Japanese descendants, from Latin America to Japan. I began to ask myself, what does a Dutch passport mean in terms of political integration? What does it mean to be of the same ethnic descent and arrive in the mother country? What are the political, economic, and social forces that cause these post-colonial citizens and ethnic migrations within the same time period to two very different parts of the world? As the velocity and intensity of migrations increase around the world, legal citizenship and ethnicity are fast becoming two of the most contested issues facing the modern state. Many of today's debates about immigration have to do with arguments around the positive and negative effects of increased ethnic diversity and who should be entitled to legal membership. What does it mean politically then to arrive in a country privileged as a legal citizen or co-ethnic? Common sense notions of the Netherlands and Japan lend assumptions that these nations would effectively incorporate their respective overseas citizens and co-ethnics. In my book, I argue that shared citizenship with a common thread of civic and liberal ideology in the Netherlands and co-ethnicity in an ethnically exclusive and conservative Japan does not necessarily lead to immigrant political incorporation. I argued that in the post-1970s and 1980s market liberalization associated with globalization and Dutch and Japanese state policies have produced a convergence in the instrumental use of citizenship and ethnicity, evidenced in these two migrations around the same time period. So based on 6 years of research, my analysis demonstrates that limited political opportunity structure, along with the difficulties of small group size, language, and a myth of return, hinders immigrant political incorporation. I contend a home country level of dependency on migrant remittances, electoral rules and practices that complicate overseas voting, and a dearth of active host country ethnic advocacy organizations limits the emergence of political transnationalism. I believe this book is the first to comparatively analyze the political realities of these groups who inherit post-state access as post-colonial citizens and ethnic immigrants. The rationale here is if political incorporation is difficult for advantaged legal immigrants, it should be even more daunting for others. With 214 million migrants today, many legal residents of ethnic or minority background are effectively excluded from vital political systems. Hence, post-colonial and ethnic immigrants can act as the miner's canary for all. These issues are of particular relevance to the maintenance of democracy around the world. The book argues for a reform of state policies that recognize cultural rights and equal membership to facilitate political incorporation. My hope is that this contributes to the literature as it is among a very few works to cross-regionally investigate the role of citizenship and ethnicity in migration, political incorporation, and political transnationalism in this age of globalization. Okay, well, I couldn't have completed this book without the goodwill and support of my wife, Miho, and our children, as well as the Department of Behavioral Sciences, the Political Science Program, and the York College community of faculty, administrators, staff, and students. I would like to thank my colleagues at York and the broader CUNY for their comments on various iterations of the book proposal and/or specific chapters. This includes my mentor, Professor Irving Leonard Markovitz of Queens College and the CUNY Graduate Center, our former provost, Eva Law Griffith, Dr. Robin Harper, Dr. Hamid Abadi, Dr. Mark Schuler, Dr. Anna Law of Brooklyn College, and my CUNY faculty publications mentor, Professor Virginia Sanchez Caporo. I would also like to thank my external faculty mentor, Professor James Holyfield of Southern Methodist University, for all of his support over the years. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening and your interest in my work. Thank you.
Good luck with the next book. I know there's another one coming somewhere there. And I do want to ask, Dr. Bisla said it was 10 years, so how long was yours? About 6? Yeah, 6, okay, I thought I heard that. Congratulations, well worth waiting for, and maybe, I don't know how you get into being a provost lecture series person, Dr. Bisla and Dr. Sharp, but maybe we can hear more about it in some of those settings. The service award this year is to Miss Barbara Hall, who has with her lovely granddaughter. And Barbara worked for many, many years in the corporate world, came to CUNY some time ago in 1993, first to LaGuardia and then to York in 1995, starting in the registrar's office and then moving into student activities. She also had the idea around a help desk and the Welcome Center, which she initiated. She then joined the institutional advancement area, where she supports any number of major programs and events, as well as meetings. And of course, the Executive Leadership Breakfast is one of the signatures. York Legacy Society Lunch is another. Alumni reunions, the 45th anniversary celebration. And of course, she helps to staff our foundation board, an important group. What makes Barbara remarkable is her commitment to York. When there's something that needs to be done, Barbara says, I've got this, I'll take care of it, and she follows through. Even though it may mean taking on additional responsibilities, and I know that personally, because when Barbara took on the CUNY campaign, she set the goal very high. She rallied a series of CUNY campaign leaders around her, and I thought, even though I claim to like big, hairy, audacious goals, I wasn't so happy because I said, ooh, that's a big reach, Barbara. But she put us together, and she put a great team together. She worked with you all, and indeed, we outperformed, if you will, not only our earlier goals, but we even outperformed other CUNY institutions. And so it is a delight, Barbara, to give you this service honor for the work you have done at York. Thank you so much.
Thank you to all. And I'd like to introduce you to Ava Jane. This is my granddaughter. She's the York College baby.
Thank you so much, Barbara, for your service. I just want to ask Mondell to come up because it's just serendipitous. Mondell was at the CUNY campaign kickoff yesterday, and she brought us back very, very good news, a sort of testimony to part of the legacy that Barbara has left, but really a legacy of the York College community. Even though we are one of the smaller senior colleges in terms of size, student size, faculty size, staff size, we are very large in philanthropy. And just yesterday, at the kickoff session for the CUNY campaign for 2014-2015, we got this lovely plaque, which I share with you. She just brought it in this morning, which says, the City University of New York, York College 2013 CUNY campaign for voluntary charitable giving. The highest achiever award among the senior colleges. At this institution who contributed a one-time gift or contributed a monthly or bi-weekly gift, this is what you have brought for thousands of organizations that do such good work here in New York City. So thank you so much. I share this fact. Jonathan, are you here for our alma mater? I'm going to ask everyone to rise, and Jonathan will lead us in the alma mater. It is on the backstage of our program. And then I ask that you wait for with us before you leave. Just have the robed individuals march out, and then you may follow. So, Jonathan, thank you.